kids start to find seats, we're going to be getting started in just a couple minutes. Sandra's going to keep playing for us, but you all need to find a seat because we're going to do a little bit of a service first. So if you're wandering around in the space by the auction, have a seat. Anne, could you help or encourage people to find a seat? Everybody call it quits with looking and scanning the stuff. Everyone, good morning. You know, when I was a religious education teacher, we used to make, does anybody remember this sign? Aha, Leslie remembers it. That's not hook 'em horns. No. This is quiet coyote. And it's what we use to get the kids to be quiet in the classrooms. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Westside. Welcome to our community where love unites, caring connects, and community thrives. I am Reverend Carol Bodeau. I am privileged to serve here as minister, and as you can tell, today is a weird, special, amazing, unusual day. Okay, so today, first I want to welcome if you're with us virtually. Thank you for being here. Things look a little strange. We are going to have a relatively short service today, and then we're going to be having our auction. So there are things that are available in this room. If you were participating virtually, there are ways that you could participate virtually in the auction. We're not going to include a justice and generosity portion of the service today, so I'm going to just say that as an announcement. If you would like to make a contribution separate from the auction to this congregation, you can do so on our website. You can do that using the QR code available in the back of the room on our little donation box. You can also make a donation in the donation box. Today is all about having fun supporting this congregation. Just a reminder of some things that are also happening here. We have our spiritual practices services at 9:30 in the morning on Sundays. And starting in March, we're not going to start in February, but starting in March, on the first Sunday of the month, we will be having a spiritual discussions group. Now that's going to be a slightly more theological heavy discussion group. And that'll be in person here, and we will attempt valiantly to get an online possibility for that too. So in March, we're going to be talking about the big questions, about what we believe about the big questions. So let's all just take a deep breath. We are going to gather together in our usual way. I don't think I said my name for those of you I haven't met yet. I think I know everybody in the room, but if you are with us virtually and I haven't met you, I'm Reverend Carol Bodeau. I'm privileged to serve here as minister. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And again, I'm going to repeat our new slogan so that you all can get to know it. Our new slogan for Westside is that this is a place where love unites, caring connects, and community thrives. And that's the theme of being together today, both for our service and also for our fun and social auction. So we're going to begin with the sound of the Himalayan singing bowls. So I just invite you to take a deep breath as the bowl sounds. I know that there's a lot of chatter in the room. There's a lot of I got to look at what's available on the auction. So you can just pause that for a minute. We're going to do this little worshipy thing first. As the bowl sounds, just come into your center for a minute, and then we can go back in a few minutes to all that fun. Joey Cody's going to light our chalice for us this morning. But first, we're going to light our 2 community candles. We've come into the practice of lighting a candle for good news as well as for struggles in the world. So good news this week is we are here. And the ice has melted. And we are able to get out of our homes and back into our homes. So good news for the fact that things change if you wait. They do change if you wait. And also just a candle for those in the world who are suffering as a result of not being able to be in homes because homes don't exist, or because their homes have been destroyed through conflict. Those who are suffering in a world that is filled with strife. And our chalice in between those 2 candles is meant to be a symbol of our commitment to bringing hope and care to a needy world. Our words this morning come from the late Thich Nhat Hanh, Vietnamese Buddhist monk, activist, poet, and teacher. And these words come from his book, How to Love. In friendship, we try to offer our friend happiness. But the willingness to make someone happy isn't enough. You have your own idea of happiness. But to make someone else happy, you have to understand that person's needs, their suffering, and their desires, and not assume that you know what will make them happy. So you have to ask, what would make you happy? Thich Nhat Hanh, with these words, reminds us that to be in community, to support one another truly, to join together in connection and thriving, we have to be curious. We have to let go of our assumptions and our expectations about what is right and true sometimes, and simply ask of another, what's true for you? What do you need? What would make you happy? So in order to do that, we have to open up and be a little bit vulnerable and be willing to not necessarily know the answer in advance. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But first, I'm going to invite you all to be a little bit vulnerable and take a risk. We are going to sing Lean on Me. Now, it's number 1021 in those blue hymnals that are sitting on your tables there. But, Chris, come on, Chris is going to come. Anybody from the choir who's willing to come up here and help lead it, come on up. You don't have to, but if you're willing, come on up, because it will be helpful if you're being brave up here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. So if you look at this, some of you read music, some of you don't. All right, if you look at this, you will see that there are 3 verses. Sometimes in our lives, and please swallow your pride, and if there's a load. So we're going to sing all 3 of these verses that also include Lean on Me when you're not strong. And then after the 3rd verse, if you read music, we'll go to the 2nd ending there. We're going to do the call on me, brother. We're going to do that part. We're going to do that part. And then we're going to go back and sing the Lean on Me part again. Now, you don't actually have to read the music. You can just follow us bravely and audaciously. And if you don't want to sing, you can clap, because we're going to do that too. All right? So you're just going to do your best to follow us, all right? Are you ready? All right, here we go. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain. We all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean. Okay, you can clap better than that. Please swallow your pride. If I have things you need to buy, one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lead. Last verse. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean. Okay, this is complicated. You just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Okay, give yourselves a hand. Nice try. That was good. Okay, don't think that's the last time that's gonna happen. That was your practice round. It's not going to happen again today, but it will happen again. So y'all can practice it. Listen to your YouTube videos, in your shower, sing, practice the clapping. And when you're practicing, practice a little bit of a sway and a swing, because it makes it easier to clap on time. Okay. All right. So the point of that song is we all need other people. We need each other. It's important to be connected. Okay, rather than spend a lot of time talking at you today, we're going to practice a little exercise that follows Thich Nhat Hanh's advice, where he says to be curious. So today we're kind of leaning into one another, into community, into the auction, and I'm just going to lead us through a little cognitive mental exercise in curiosity. Doesn't matter whether you're in this room or with us virtually, you can do this. I'm simply going to ask you a few questions that I invite you to reflect on in your own mind as we go through them. So first, what do you think will make you happy? Think about the things that you think for yourself would make you happy or happier. What's in your list? Your list might include simple things like more money, or I need to stop by the store on the way home to pick up something, or I need a better car. You might say, I need a new partner, I need a new job, right? I need a slightly used sewing machine that I might have to bid for. Nothing like the auction will make you ask the question, what will make me happy? But now ask yourself this question, what is the need behind the desire? What is the actual need? Why do I think that that new sewing machine will make me happy? Now this might bring up needs that are more complicated. To feel less guilty, to feel more connected, to take time for my creative pursuits, to not feel so lonely, to let go of something that's no longer serving me in my life, to find grace in a difficult situation. Oftentimes we have deep needs that we assign simple solutions to, which we then want, because we think they'll make us happy. But sometimes those needs are a little harder to figure out. Often what we desire is just a strategy, one strategy, for getting a deeper need met. Okay, next question. Sort of a set of questions. What do you assume about getting your needs met? Do you assume that they will be easily met or that they cannot possibly be met? Do you assume that it's not okay to speak them out loud or that saying them will make you look weak or vulnerable? Do you think that your needs are unrealistic? Or are you one of those people who has the luck of fate to believe that every single need you ever had is absolutely going to be met every single time? What do you believe or assume about your own wants and needs? Okay, next question. What do you assume about the person next to you, or in the next room, or in your family? What do you think will make them happy? What do you tell yourself about what you think will make people around you happy? How many of you have ever worried? I mean it, raise your hand. Okay, if you don't raise your hand about having ever worried, you're fibbing. Just saying.
I thought you were going to finish the sentence.
Okay, oh, sorry. Let me articulate that better. Thank you. Communication is good. Have you ever worried? Okay, if you have ever worried, you think you know what will make someone else happier. When we worry, we think we know what's right for other people, especially if we're worrying about someone else, okay? So what do you assume about the people around you, particularly the people you care about? Now ask yourself the question, what do you think is the deeper need, yours or theirs, behind your assumption? So I might say, well, I think that person needs a better job, or I think that person needs to change political parties, or I think that person needs whatever. Everything would be better if only. What is the deeper need behind our assumptions about what would make people more happy? Just pick one person in your life that you have a wish for. Might be yourself, might be somebody else. What is the deeper need? And what's the first strategy or desire that comes to mind to fill that need? And now ask yourself, what do you feel can or cannot happen, should or should not happen, will or will not happen around that need? Okay, now the hardest question of all. Now I want you to think of someone you don't like, that you feel really uncomfortable with. Might be an anonymous other, might be someone you know well. Think of someone you don't like. And what do you assume that they think will make them happy? Maybe they've told you in one way or another. Maybe you know someone who said, well, I want this, or I need that, or I want it to be this way. Stating very clearly, or maybe we're making assumptions about what that person or persons is saying they want or desire, because that's what will make them happy. Now, can you be curious? Can you be curious about the deeper need behind that desire or wish expressed by the person who you don't like? Perhaps their wants and needs are very different than yours. Perhaps their needs seem to actually be a threat to your own needs. Think about that for a minute. If what someone else wants upsets us, it's because we feel that their want or need is a threat to our wants and needs. Now, here's the tricky part. Is it possible to imagine that other person or persons, can we imagine ways that they can get their wants and needs met and we can also get our wants and needs met? That's trickier. That's trickier. All conflict between ourselves and others, and also within ourselves, any conflict that we have is the result of multiple desires and needs happening at the same time. How many of you have ever had the experience of thinking, well, I'd like to do that, but I have to do this other thing? That's two different needs or wants being in conflict. We have multiple needs all going on at the same time. And some of them can seem mutually exclusive, and we can't figure out how to meet them at the same time. Or we may believe that there are only specific strategies that will work to get our wants and needs met. So we may be kind of rigid in expecting them to turn out a certain way, because that's the only way, the only strategy we have for figuring them out. And this is even more true when we're dealing with other people, right? So one of my favorite stories from one of my kids was when they were very small, attempting to jump on the bed and being really good at jumping on the bed, but getting really upset and frustrated because they wanted to both jump up and down at the same time. Like, this was really a struggle. Why can I not be going up and down at the same time? There are certain limitations to our reality, right? I can't be in two places at the same time. We have limitations on how much we can accommodate our own needs and other people's needs. And yet, if we just stop to ask the question, what am I assuming about what will make me happy? What am I assuming about what you think will make you happy? If we can just stop and be curious, it seems to me like there's probably more wiggle room than we realize in everybody getting their needs met, especially if we can identify the desire that we think will make us happy and separate that from the need behind it and ask good questions about that. Thich Nhat Hanh says this about love and understanding. He says, understanding is the essence of love. If you cannot understand, you cannot love. Without understanding, love is an impossible thing. Now think about that. How many people in your life do you love that you don't understand? He's inviting us to a different definition of love. He's expanding our definition of love to include curiosity. What must we do in order to understand a person, he asks. We must take time. We must practice looking deeply into this person. We must be there and be attentive. We must observe. We must look. And the fruit of looking deeply is called understanding. So he's inviting us to deepen beyond that superficial level of I want and you want, to understanding, well, I need and you need. And that includes within ourselves. Now, let me just reframe this by saying, I don't want to suppress your desire for the objects on the table in any way. But the truth of the matter is, not a single object in this room will make you happy. The objects in the room may facilitate you doing something that meets a need. The need might be supporting this community. It might be participating in a fun activity. It might be learning a new skill or experiencing something new or having a new color in your life. It might facilitate a deeper need. But none of the things are the source of happiness. The source of happiness is understanding ourselves, being curious, and understanding one another so that we can acknowledge our needs. So as we spend time together today in community, let's be curious about ourselves and one another. Let's see if we can learn to understand one another a little bit more, and maybe understand ourselves a little bit more, and be a little more creative in finding ways to get our needs met so that everyone gets their needs met, which is also a little plug for don't get too competitive over the objects, right? Everybody can get their needs met. We don't have to stick to one creative solution to the discomfort and discontent that is part of the human condition. When we become rigid, we end up in conflict. When we can become a little bit adaptable, we can say, well, I could get my need met that way, and I might get my need met another way, and circumstances don't allow me to be both up and down at the same time, so I'll do them sequentially. All right? So I just want to invite us all, when you're looking at the objects, when you're talking to each other, as we're together today, take a minute when you can to deepen into a little bit of deeper understanding. What's the deeper meaning? And then, after you do that, you can go back to your just totally crazy, I need that sewing machine. I need that, but just saying, I do actually kind of really need the sewing machine. But you all can compete with me on the sewing machine because I expressed that need, and someone kindly already said, well, I have another spare sewing machine I'll give you. So sometimes if you express your need, if you have a need that maybe I can help with and you express it, maybe that need will get met. All right. We don't have to act like we are running on empty and grasping things. We can take a breath and enjoy ourselves and understand that what we're really doing is engaging in meeting the need of loving one another and loving this community. Love unites, caring connects, and then community thrives. That is how, and you need your checkbook. Judy just said checkbook, absolutely. But guess what? Guess what? If you have a need, we can figure out how to fix that. Credit. Caring connects, community thrives. All right? So one of the ways we can fill our tanks before we go shopping is to simply appreciate what we already have. So before we launch into the part of this wonderful day, which is having fun, looking at cool new things that we can enjoy to help make us happy and to be together, we're also going to just take a minute to be appreciative. You do not need a hymnal for this. You don't need the words for it. You just need to listen to me and sing back to me. Appreciation is a primary way to fill your tank, to understand that most of your needs are probably already being met. Most of our needs, if we're in this room, many of us have many of our needs already met. So let us fill up and be a little bit appreciative before we celebrate. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Thank you all for being here and for singing. And now Ann is going to tell us what's happening next. And for those of you who are with us virtually, I believe, Brad, are we keeping our live stream going? Are we ending we're ending our live stream. So everybody who's in the room, if you could just turn towards the camera and wave. Thank you all for being with us virtually. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
All righty. There you go. I'm a former teacher, so I got to give directions.